Okay, good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to our regular morning um, webinar series, Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific time, with Ebiz Marketing Academy. My name is Ernesto Comodo, and I'm one of the co-founders of Ebiz Marketing Academy. Just a little brief info on myself if anyone is here for the first time. I'm a marketing consultant and also creative director of 907K Marketing, and also marketing director of LA South Chamber of Commerce, and the co-partner of Ebiz Marketing Academy, which is what we're presenting today. A little bit on our Ebiz Marketing. Ebiz Marketing is a platform that we help small business entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and people that are just starting their businesses and trying to figure out marketing strategy or how to best practices on the website. And also they need a little bit of coaching in as far as the digital marketing goes. So we're here to provide that help. We have weekly webinars every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. We have a bunch of blogs also on the website. And if anybody's interested, we also have a 30-day challenge that will improve, giving a day-to-day how to improve your marketing on your website strategies. And of course, we also have courses that you can take. So please check it out if you're a brand new business or if you've been in business for a while, but you feel like you need to step up to the next level, feel free to go. It's members.ebizmarketingacademy.com. Now to the topic of today. Today our topic is practical ways to increase your conversions on your e-commerce platform. This is one of my favorite topics. It's one of the things that most people always ask is, or they always want. I mean, one of the main objects, one of the main things that you want to do as an e-commerce owner is, of course, is increase your conversions. So whether you just started or you're well established, one thing for sure, a common goal is always increasing sales. The average e-commerce store typically sees a conversion rate of around 2 to 3%, as I put up here on the screen. But your goal should be a little bit higher than that. That's average. Most people, of course, don't want to be average. So I'm going to try to give you some tips that hopefully you get you above the 2 to 3% conversion increase. Just for a little background, your e-commerce site is just one in the sea of 47 billion websites currently online in the internet. So that with that number includes roughly about 1.5 million e-commerce sites just in the United States. So your site is just trying to get the product and content from the right people to get the people to opt in and engage by it. And you're in the sea of all these other 1.5 million websites. So in this webinar, we'll take a look at some of the most effective ways to increase your e-commerce site conversion rate, and we'll go over some actionable tips and advice regarding what to do to start generating more conversions, even without increasing of your visitors. Move on to the next slide. So some of the practical ways to increase conversions that I'll be discussing this morning includes functional design and simple navigation, the speed, improving your copy, personalization. Number 5, use scarcity, urgency, and social proof. Number 6, product depiction and upsell. And number 7, improving your checkout user experience. So let's start. The first one is one of the most important ones, is the functional design and also simple navigation. While most of this webinar is focused on the more down and dirty tactics of increasing your conversion rate, we want to begin by briefly discussing the topic of site design in general. I know I can give you an entire webinar just in site design. So this is just to get kind of like the general idea. Simply put, if your site isn't designed in a manner that keeps your visitors on the page and moving forward with their transaction, none of other tactics we're about to discuss are going to make much of a difference. That said, your site needs to be number one, visually appealing, and number two, visually persuasive. The appealing part is pretty much straightforward. You can pretty much tell if something's appealing or not, and if it speaks to your target audience. But you also want to take a look at the examples I put on the screen. Needless to say, a modern consumer is more likely to engage farther with the site on the left versus the other. While we could certainly take a deeper dive into why the first example is just that much more appealing, the aesthetics leads the eye into the direction of making a purchase, while on the others, there's no sense of hierarchy. Essentially, the goal is to pull your visitors' eyes to a certain part of the page, typically that part which will allow them to move a step closer toward converting. Keep in mind we read left to right, top to bottom. Naturally, you see the larger images right after the free shipping, leading your eye to the right with ever clever text, so sweet that leads to a click of more info. As you can see, we kind of scan. They call it also F scan. People will do, and they will scan it all the way at the top first. And you also, of course, you see the biggest image, but you see at the top the free shipping right away. And then you kind of, most people don't not read the entire copy, they just scan through websites. So they scan from top to bottom and left to right, and you start just scanning through the imagery. And you can see clearly the difference between the left and the right sites examples here. If you walk also for the simple navigation part of it, think about if you walk into a brick and mortar retail store that has products all over the place, more than likely you're just gonna walk out. Well, there's the same way it goes for an e-commerce store. If your visitors aren't able to find what they're looking for, they're gonna just click the button and go and try and navigate to your competitor's site almost immediately. Of course, the more products you offer, the more important this is. That's why I put the example of IKEA. They have thousands of products. And you can see using a navigation bar at the top of the screen, visitors are easily able to venture to the intermediary product category page they're looking for. From there, they're able to dig deeper into specific products offered with each individual category. Now, this is all well and good for those that are merely browsing your site for products they may like, but for those that know exactly what they're looking for, you need to provide a robust search solution. So make sure you always have a search tool. Some people are just looking exactly, they know what they want. While there are a number of factors to also consider when optimizing your site search functionality, one of your main concerns is ensuring that your visitors are presented with the most relevant products relating to the search term. On average, 30% of e-commerce site visitors will see the site search functionality, and more importantly, visitors who find what they're looking for become your customers. So this is why it's important to, your product page needs to be well put together, complete with vital information presented to a way that matches your customer search queries. There shouldn't be a single place you find a product that can't fit into multiple subcategories. So for example, if a visitor is looking for an office table in the furniture section, but you only have it listed under home office, then the visitor may assume that you don't carry the product and they might leave and never come back. So make sure your e-commerce site builder or plugin you offer has this option to include multiple categories for each product. And always make sure you check also your site internal search data. This can provide invaluable information about what visitors are searching for what and how they're navigating your site. Of course, you also want to make improvements based on that data. So make sure you check your data, make it to see it at least maybe once a month. If that's too much, do it once a quarter. Make sure you see the data, what people are searching, so you can always want to optimize your website. The next point increasing your conversions is your speed. Some of the places I put here on the screen that you can search for your speed is you can go to Google PageSpeed or Pingdom. Those are two reliable websites. And I just put some practical information on why speed is important on the screen. As you can see, Amazon reported a 1% revenue increase for every 100 millisecond of improvement on their speed. So just 100 milliseconds, that's just that little tiny fraction of speed, you get it shows you improve in revenue. Walmart found a 2% increase in conversions for every 1 second improvement on their site speed. And Mozilla boasted 60 million more Firefox downloads per year when they improved their page speed by 2.2 seconds. So speed is very important, as you can see, especially when you're dealing with conversions and patience of your customers. Even a delay of a single second can result in a 7% reduction in conversions. For an e-commerce site making $5,000 a day, a 1 second delay could potentially cost you $125,000 in lost revenue per year. It is true that there are a few things more frustrating than waiting for a website to load in today's age of instant gratification. Here are a few things you can do to make sure that you're not leaving money on the table because of your site performance. Test your site speed, as I mentioned in the beginning, with Google PageSpeed or Pingdom to figure out where's your site baseline speed right now. Number two, the thing that you can do is check your hosting plan. If your site host offers different hosting levels, make sure that you're using a higher performing version. The extra money it may cost, it can be well worth if you drop the load time and increase the conversions. Optimize your images. There are a lot of tools out there, both free and paid, that you can use to optimize your images for web and mobile. Kragen is one. It has plans that start at $5 a month. There's also Tiny PNG, which is free. And if you don't like online tools, you can also download Riot, RIOT, for a free desktop option. But you have no excuses to make sure that your images, make sure they're not heavy images, and you will kill your site performance. The next item I want to talk about is improving your copy. Now, the internet is a visual place, but you still need to create some stellar copy. Copy tackles three of the biggest challenges faced by an e-commerce site. Number one is informing your visitors. Number two, driving action. And number three, fostering relationships. Of course, you need people to actually read your copy, which is apparently no small feat. As I mentioned earlier, most people are going to scan your website. They're not going to read the entire copy. And this is based on an eye tracking study by Nielsen Norman Group. It's likely that the vast majority of your visitors will scan your site and not actually read it. They typically scan in patterns as an F shape. Your copy should be engaging and formatted in a way that will capture the scanners. Keep pertinent information towards the top of your piece and use subheadings that allow your scanners to easily identify the sections that are important to them. Another easy way to improve your copy is to write with your target customer in mind. Remember, we have back a few webinars back, we talked about creating customer personas. And if you haven't done that, make sure you need to do this before you even do anything else. So that's a way to keep your customer in mind. You can always make some updates to your word choice for a quick copy improvement. Use words that evoke a strong response and invite action from your visitors. Words like stunning or mind-blowing are much stronger than using words like cool. And you can see here also, I put an example of just a new site and the old site, one from the left, one to the right, and you can just the way visually the one on the right, the goodbye administrative, make a simpler text. It's much more attractive, and you can even see it by the conversion rate improvement from goes from a 0.25% to 0.60% just from that change. You have the same content, but just a different change. And then on the right side of the screen, you can see the importance of the customer persona, as I mentioned. Using marketing personas made website 2 to 5 times more effective and easier to use by targeted users. A catering marketing experience can clearly define user needs. Personalization, emails improve click-through rates by 14% and conversion rates by 10%. And they also drive 18 times more revenue than broadcast emails. And we're going to talk about personalization in the next one. So here, the next slide. Personalize. With that said, there are two overarching ways to personalize your visitor's experience. One is providing dynamic content, and two is providing pathways for your visitors to take. The image on the left is providing dynamic content. Essential tools for creating and delivering dynamic content allows you to present tailored content offers and products recommendations to your visitors based on factors such as their demographic, their geographic data, their on-site behavior, and their history with your brand. Like the example I have is that Amazon is the king on personalization. You always get, recommendations that you might like. You also see this with Netflix and a few other sites out there. In terms of providing a pathway for your visitors to choose from, you want to consider the types of consumers you typically attract. Essentially, be pointing them to collections or products that relate to each other, but aren't necessarily in the same product category. That's an example on my right. Like, for example, check out this newsletter from the online clothing store Spirit. In their newsletter, Spirit allows recipients to choose which clothing style fits them best, then shop specifically for products that match that style. And the same goes now with using scarcity and urgency and social proof. Speaking of hot items, like they're currently flying off your shelves, implementing tactics such as scarcity, urgency, and exclusivity can be great ways to get your potential customers to make a purchasing decision to do it quickly. While the three terms relate to one another, they differ in how they are implemented. So let's, with scarcity, you are communicating to the consumer that there are finite number of certain items left in stock. You aren't exactly sure when the next shipment will come in. As you see here, like you can put with your products how many you have left, like only 9 left, only 1 left. With urgency, you are putting a time limit on a deadline on a customer's order, in which points they offer certain different, such as discount or fast shipping will expire. This works great with like holidays or Christmas, like last day order days for Christmas. And you see it here, like order by December 19 by 7 p.m. It gives a sense of urgency to make sure you order by that date. Use that for any holidays coming up. Right now we got Valentine's Day coming up. So last day to order for Valentine's Day, you might want to put a date right there. And then for exclusivity, I have this example also. It's all about playing the consumer's desires to be part of the in crowd. And so here you see Sephora promises a free exclusive gift to customers available only during their birthday month. Starbucks does something similar to, like your birthday, you get a free coffee or free whatever you want if you're part of their if you're part of their Starbucks club. So in each of these cases, the message to consumers clear, act now, or the opportunity will slip away for good. And for social proof, if people are buying your products, let everyone else know. People want to buy products that others are using and enjoying. Remember, we're social people, so we kind of go with what psychologically what other people are buying. People read and trust online reviews and testimonials. There was a study that showed 92% read online reviews and testimonials when considering a purchase. And according to a study by Nielsen, 84% of consumers trust recommendations from friends, family members, and peers over any other type of marketing or advertising content. So with that said, you want to find every opportunity you possibly can to present the social proof you have collected over the years, showcasing your brand's excellence. Such social proof can take a variety of forms, including product reviews. You can do expert testimonials and celebrity endorsements. You can also tap into a potential customer fear of missing out by including them. Each of these will lend credibility to your site and your products. Social share buttons with a counter are another way to show social proof. This encourages likes and shares. A word of caution though, if people aren't liking and sharing, do not include the count showing that. Showing off too few likes and shares can also have a negative impact. That's also considered as negative social proof. So the purpose of social proof is to show that your products are being purchased, used, and enjoyed. Low likes share numbers could also be a negative way of a potential negative social proof, as I mentioned. So make sure you're only doing this to products that are being well liked. And then for your copy, let me see if I'm messed up. Yeah, I think I went. My apologies. I think I went a bit here, but this shouldn't be your copy. There's a little glitch on my slide, but hopefully you get the point. If you have any questions, feel free to always put it on the comments, and I'll gladly reply to you. But if you want a perspective on customers feel comfortable doing business with you, you need to keep them in the know in many regards. As we said earlier, robust product descriptions are a must. Since your potential customers aren't able to physically handle your products before they purchase them, it is your job to use your product description to bring them to life. Not only that, but sometimes, such as in this example on the screen, is necessary to provide a robust description. Another tactic is also to consider frequently asked questions or including answers of a specific product category pages appropriately. So provide tons of information about your product based around the question, comments as company has collected from customers. As we said, your customers need to know as much as possible about your product before they consider buying them. So make sure you give it to them. The more is better on whenever you're showing your product. Also make sure you do upselling and cross-selling are two other ways to both increase your AOV. AOV, which stands for your average order value, and nurture your hesitant customers toward conversion at the same time. With upselling, let's say you run an e-commerce company that sells clothing and similar fashion items. A potential customer navigates to your store looking to purchase an entire new outfit. They click over to the section your site dedicated to jeans and find a pair they love. However, you don't include other product recommendations on your product pages, and the customer is running out of time to check out your shirts and hats before their lunch is over. So they rather put their order on hold and buy everything out all at once. So they navigate away, but they'll never come back at night. Now, consider this: if you provided some recommendations from them, and a shirt or two caught their attention, they almost certainly would quickly add everything to their cart and being able to check out before heading back to work. So sometimes your customers want to spend more money, even if they didn't anticipate it. So always make sure you give that option. Don't leave that hanging. So any upselling that you can do, always put it on the product page that they're viewing. On the other hand, sometimes your customers definitely will want to curb their spending and opt for a less expensive version of a certain product. So when providing a product suggestions, it can also be prudent to suggest products that cost less than the one they are currently viewing. While this may decrease the value of their customer order, it's certainly better for them to leave of making a purchase than not making one at all. In your product depictions and upsell. Yeah, so that's what I had a glitch on that slide. But okay, I just moving on to the next one is improve checkout user experience. First and foremost, offer guest checkout option. I know it's most of us want to get them to register so we can use their data. But with more people using like smartphones to make purchase, is sometimes just isn't feasible for some people to register, or maybe they don't have the time, or they just don't want to register. So sometimes all they want is to buy some leggings. Over a third of the people who abandoned carts in 2016 did so because they didn't want to create an account or had other issues with a complicated checkout process. So it's very important. Making customers register to buy from you should be avoided. Sites like Threadless and Macy's have embraced guest checkout to streamline their checkout process. If the thought of completely doing away requiring registration makes you nervous, you can always do some testing to see how guest checkout impacts over your bottom line. But research over the past several years consistently shows that guest checkouts could mean the difference between a sale and an abandoned cart. So highlighting your, so make sure you have guest checkout. And number two thing that I want to talk about is highlighting your return or guarantee policy. Your return and guarantee policy should be the front and center. Many e-commerce stores don't offer them, but you should. More than 50% of customers will read the return policy before buying. So make sure that yours is clear, concise, and honest. One of the biggest drawbacks of buying online is losing the ability to touch to try on the item you're buying. So your customers want to know that they'll be taken care of if the product they're expecting wasn't what they expected. When you're upfront with your return and guarantee policies, customers are more comfortable and confident and more likely complete a purchase. As we can see here, the reasons for abandoning cart during checkout. I know it's a few years old, but it's pretty much the same. This is a 2017 study. Number one is the extra cost, too high shipping taxes and fees. Number two is what I just mentioned, the site wanted me to create an account, 37%. So number three is too long or complicated checkout process. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. The checkout process is too long or was too complicated. Now we'll address how to shorten, otherwise streamline checkout process in a moment. But for now, let's assume your checkout process is quite streamlined. It's just that your customers perceive that it's taking too long. This can be alleviated simply by setting your customers' expectations before they even begin the checkout process. Remember, being upfront with them is always preferable than hitting them with the unpleasant surprises. So let them know what part in the checkout process they're in. The basics premises is this: if your customers have no frame of reference of how long the checkout process would take, they'll probably feel like it took forever. If you provide them a frame of reference from the get-go, they'll have a decent idea how long you should take, and will probably be pleasantly surprised with how quickly they went through it. The next one is also providing multiple payments and delivery options. And I think, yeah, that's also one of the reasons for abandonment carts. Make sure in the world of e-commerce, there's a ton of different ways consumers can make payments. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to cater to all of them. Not only will you spread yourself too thin in doing so, but there's a good chance that your customers won't use many or even most of these options in the first place. But with that said, figure out which methods your target consumers do tend to use, and be sure to offer them with no strings attached. Not accepting less widely used accepted options might lead to not too many lost sales, but not accepting PayPal or such as Apple Pay by today's standards can also be an absolute loss of revenue. Regarding your delivery options, you essentially want to offer your customers a trade-off between cost and efficiency. So if they're willing to pay more for shipping, you want to be able to deliver the shipment as quickly as possible. If they're willing to wait, you want to be able to offer cheap, or even free shipping. So with that, that will conclude the presentation, and I want to thank you for taking a look at this. And concluding is there are many things that you can do to improve your conversion rate, and I know some of this can be a little bit overwhelming. So you can just a recommendation: if you act just a few of these e-commerce conversion hacks, you can see a positive return on investment. You start with something simple, like maybe improving your site speed before moving on to revamping your copy and visuals. Ultimately, making one change every week or every month will make a difference in your e-commerce conversion rates. And it is more manageable way to address the areas that need improvement rather than trying to make a multiple sweeping changes at once. You also have a chance to analyze your site data to see what impacts your changes have had. Your e-commerce business lives and dies by the effectiveness of your website. Your site data will be able to tell you how your site is performing and is meeting the expectations of potential customers. And you have the power to raise your site to above the 1.3 million other e-commerce sites glamoring attentions. Use it. So whatever you can do to make sure you get above all the e-commerce around.